Attaboy the Don, nigga. Eastside Zone 6, man. Fuck with AHumbleSoul. Always.
Okay, man, we checking back in on AHumbleSoul, live from the ATL. Got Attaboy the Don in front of the camera.
Zone 6 shit, man.
What's going on with you, man?
I'm just chilling, man. How you doing, man?
I can't complain, bro. It's a pleasure to chop it up with you. You know, man, I got familiar with you while I was in college, dog, for real. It was, I forgot the name of the project, but it was hosted by DJ Ace.
Oh, yeah. That shit was self-titled. That was Attaboy the Don.
Cause then I remember like the novel and
the novel.
Definition of it was projects, multiple projects, Purgatory. It was a lot on. Like, I remember that
the DJ Ace project. That's one of my first tapes. DJ Ace, DJ Scream, but a lot of folks ain't never heard the Bigger Ranking mixtape I did. But actually, I did it. I was locked up. So Bigger Ranking, he hosted it and shit. But all the drops on it, he talking like I'm locked up. So when I got out of jail, we ain't never push it. But it's a raw mixtape. So
what's the name of that one? What's the my bad.
Attaboy the Don.
Oh, that's not the DJ Ace one.
I named both on the same thing because I never actually put out the Bigger Ranking one. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was out a little bit, but we pressed it up a little bit, but we ain't just push it because I was locked up. So when I got out, I redid shit. And I did DJ Scream and I did DJ Ace. But I say them CDs like my first one because I ain't had no internet presence and shit at the time. You know what I mean? Everything was just in the street. We just pressing up CDs, passing them out and shit. I only think I had been on YouTube yet. You know what I mean? You know?
Man, I never forget that switching lanes. I don't know why I still think about that to this day.
Being hard, switching lanes, no showing my chain.
You ain't never do no video to it though, did you?
That was all them songs like we was just first starting out. My homeboy did that beat, one of my partners, named Lucky D.
Okay.
He did that beat, goddamn, you know what I mean? That beat was just raw. That one we were like heavy in the street, you know what I mean? Like we went, man, that we first starting out. That's my first shit, you know what I mean? We wasn't even known outside Atlanta yet, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I remember like when you were saying like the B Green and Trouble. This was before I even knew who they were personally. I just remember hearing them names in that song.
B Green, Trouble, Sosa.
Yeah.
Goddamn Black.
Big Bang. He said Big Bang, Black mounted up Maserati thing.
Big Bang mounted up Maserati thing. He had done got a Maserati. A burglar Maserati, you know, in the hood. That shit was like a Lambo back then, you know what I mean? That shit was like a Lamborghini. So all that shit was I was just really just speaking out, you know, I felt like I was the voice for my hood, you know what I mean? Like that was the whole thing with Duct Tape, period, all together. Like we were looking at it as a label, but we still was just looking at it like, boy, this our hood, this our shit. You know what I mean? So when you say Duct Tape, we were down there saying our hood, you know what I'm saying? And man, we just were mashing, man. Like I say I got out of prison. I had went to prison. So when I got out, we started going real hard with the Duct Tape shit. And I say like 2007, Trouble, he was with another label called 211. He was with them and shit. And I just, you know what I mean, was catching wind of him and shit from being around him because he little Dave's cousin. And we'll be going over Dave's house. They got a little studio in the house. So they'll be recording and shit. So I be listening to that shit like, boy, this little nigga hard, shout hard, you know? But he was already fucking with them. Then after a while, he started being with us every day. So we like, fuck that, you Duct Tape, man, you ain't 211 no more. We like basically took him, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, fuck that, you know? And shit, then it was, you know, me, B Green, Trouble, Dave, Black, RIP my partner AJ. Man, what's so crazy? AJ gone, Dave gone, Trouble gone. Like, we done took some losses, man. Like, it really just, you know, that shit heartbreaking, bro. You know what I mean?
Man, before we even get into like, I guess more of the somber side, like Duct Tape, what do you think it was about y'all that separated that particular label and I guess y'all as a collective from other, because there's a lot of different other movements and labels within Atlanta.
I feel like,
Especially
for
around
one
that time.
thing, all of us grew up together. Like, all of us grew up together. We was on the block together. So we know each other, like, from the block. You know what I mean? Like, we really grew up even before we was on the block. You know what I mean? Like, elementary school and shit, like, 3rd, 4th grade, shit like that. And so it was just really like a family thing, man. It was just really organic.
Yeah,
As a motherfucker, you know what I mean? I always been like the little nigga from the hood who can rap like hell. You know what I mean? But we just was in the street so much at one point where we ain't never just take it serious. Cause the shit was, we really didn't think we could. I can't say we didn't think we could get that far, but you can't see it when you start. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, we really made an impact. So we were just doing us. You know what I mean? Cause we already used to be going out and shit. We were already popular. So like, shit, this shit just started making all the sense. We started seeing niggas like BMF, you know what I mean, Gucci them and shit like that. We like, well, shit, we in the street for real. Like, we really got now, shit, well, we can do this shit too. You know what I mean? Like, if they did it, we know we can do it this side city. That's how we felt, you know what I mean? So we just started going, just pushing that shit, pushing. And then, like, you know, it was hard for them to accept us. Like, they ain't really just accept us like they did a lot of people, cause we wasn't doing the snapping, popping music and shit. Like, you know, Atlanta, like, was known for dancing and club music like a motherfucker. And that wasn't what we were doing. That wasn't what I was doing. I was doing street shit.
Right.
I was storytelling and telling my story and some street shit, you know? So my music sounded different. But niggas in the street understood it, but it wasn't the Atlanta sound. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little harder for us, you know what I mean? Like, we really had to beat the streets. Like, we getting 30, 40,000 CDs pressed up, passing them out, hand to hand. You know, when the big names doing shows, having club appearances and shit, we'll paint that bitch with duct tape flyers and posters and shit, you know what I mean? And have people all in the parking lot getting out our CD. You'll think we were performing, you know what I mean? So that was like our little strategy. Like, you come to Atlanta, you go to a big show or something, you gonna feel our presence, period. You know what I mean? And if we in the club, nigga, we finna be in the big VIP. We finna buy hella bottles. We finna turn up in this bitch. You know what I mean? Especially like the strip club, like all the hoes and shit already knew us. Cause we, you know, we Atlanta niggas, so we stay in the strip club. So it just, you know, we had to press the line. But I feel like the radio ain't accept us. You know what I'm saying? Like, the radio didn't accept us. Like, we would have been, I feel like our movement would have been way bigger if the radio accepted us. Like, I got a deal, Black got a deal, Trouble got a deal, all of us got deals because of the noise we were making in the street. It wasn't like we were making noise on the radio. You know what I mean? Like, the radio had their picks and chooses on who they fucked with, you know what I mean? And we wasn't one of them. I know I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, in the long run, Trouble started getting a little leeway with the radio and shit, you know what I'm saying? I feel like he was a little more commercial than me, you know what I'm saying? So we just went from there. We forced our hand, you know what I mean, more than anything.
Man, do you feel like the reputation or the notoriety from like the street side interfered with them giving y'all certain opportunities?
Yeah.
And that's why y'all had to kind of bogart it a little bit?
Yeah. Because you gotta think our name, bro. Our name, Duct Tape Entertainment. You know what I mean? Then they see the logo and shit, like, so we like, I think when folks are head off back, they thinking negative. You know what I mean? When we ain't see it like that. We just liked the name. We had a clever logo and shit. You know what I mean? And we knew, like, we ain't on that. You know what I mean? But we is on that. Like, we street niggas. We come from the street just like all these other labels. We just, I guess it was a persona. You know what I mean? And it kind of, it probably made some folks scared to fuck with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we had to push a little more harder than the average. You know what I mean?
Man, around that time, you mentioned like BMF, you mentioned like Gucci, you had the So Icy movement, CTE, T.I., PSC,
Yeah.
D4L,
Yeah.
Franchise Boys, I can keep going on and on. Was it ever like, I guess, quote unquote, friendly competition, or did y'all ever clash with any of them?
Nah. Hell no.
Competitively? Like when you see them out in the clubs, like you said, you can come in there and let your presence be felt, you know what I mean?
We ain't have to do that because everybody know everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, for like Charlotte, them, Gucci and shit like that, that's families. Like, we fuck with each other hard. Like, all of it really came up around the same time. Kind of like, it was like all of us in the clubs and shit at the same time. Like, well, Gucci already had movement before we started really pushing, you know what I mean? Cause, you know, he had the shit with Jeezy and shit with doing that shit caught wind and he was doing their own thing. Then D4L, Charlotte, them, they were doing them, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many folk, but all of you to be at Crucial, at Club Crucial and shit together. So like, you know, Greg Street used to DJ there and shit like that. So like, a lot of music came from us being at Crucial and performing and shit like that, you know what I mean? Before like big names like Tip them and Jeezy and shit, we'll see them in bigger clubs and shit. They were doing them, but we kind of stayed away from them. You know what I mean? Like, but I used to fuck with like Dro and shit like that. But you know, they was like on a pedestal. But the more noise we made, you know what I mean, folks start reaching out, you know what I mean? They start reaching out and shit. That's how it ended up with G's on a song and shit like that, you know what I mean? Like, after so long, you make so much noise in the street, everybody gonna reach out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It only makes sense, you know what I mean? So, you know.
Man, like even looking at a situation like that, did it make you question whether it was genuine? Or is it more so like a business move? It's just mutually beneficial for both of y'all.
Some relationships be personal. Well, people be genuinely, you know what I mean, want to fuck with you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of shit Gucci did was genuine. A lot of shit with Low, genuine. You know what I mean? Dro. I ain't never done that with Tip. You know what I mean? But I ain't feel like it was genuine with Jeezy. It was business. You know what I mean? I ain't feel like it was genuine, like he just wanted to fuck with me on no genuine shit. It just made sense. We make so much noise in the street. You wouldn't really street if you wouldn't fuck with us in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like, we make so much noise, like, damn. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like that. But, you know, it's chess. You know what I mean? All of the chess. So it's like, you feed off of me, I feed off of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They say you got to play the game, man. It's like
yeah,
politics with that.
Yeah,
a lot
so
of people
really
don't,
you can't.
Yeah.
You can get caught up feeling personal and shit. And it, you know, it'll cause friction when you taking shit personal, when you got to be like, nah, these music niggas, this ain't no street shit. This ain't no personal shit. Take this shit for what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's all chess. You know what I mean? And when you first get in this shit, you don't understand it. But as you keep going, you start understanding like, oh no, I ain't even gotta like you to do a song with you. We really just feeding off each other.
Business.
Type shit, you know?
Yeah. But somebody like Gucci, so you knew him before.
Yeah, I've been on Gucci since I was like 18.
Cause I'm thinking, so he represented what more like
He's on 6.
But like, let me say, Sun Valley.
They're a little further east than we is. Like, just a little bit. You ain't know about a mile or two.
Oh, okay. So it's
2,
still
3
close
miles.
though. Okay.
It's still zone 6.
I'm thinking it's spread out.
Nah, it ain't too far. They right there. All of us right there together.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So
it's all the east side.
Man, so around that time, like, how did you? Was it music related or more so like in the trenches? When you connected with Gucci, like a young Gucci. You said you 18, so yeah.
Before he was even cracking, before Gucci even popped off and shit like that, like, all of us used to be over at Never Again Records, who he was signed to first. You know what I mean? So all of us making music and doing shit together back then, even before the song Black Tea. Like, 2 of my cousins own Black Tea. You know what I mean? One of my cousins, Young Sean, and my other cousin, Carla, they owned Black Tea before he did the remix with Bun B and Jeezy. Two of my cousins owned it, my bad.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it was like, we been knew with each other, you know what I mean? Then I ended up going to prison. When I went to prison, that when they dropped So Icy and shit like that, and his shit started taking off. So we already had a personal relationship, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I want to take a step back. You mentioned your cousin. I had told you like behind the scenes that I was familiar. I had heard you, but I think you was going by like Lil Kurt then.
Yeah, I was Lil Kurt. I'm Lil Kurt. That my name, Lil Kurt.
Young Sean. So I was saying Young Sean. It's Young Sean.
Some folks say Young Sean, but it's Young Sean.
Okay.
SHONE.
The E always got me with this. I'm thinking Sean.
It's Young Sean.
Yeah, but he was messing around in Chattanooga, man.
Yeah, see, I got a cousin. One of my cousins from Miami, Julio, and he had a label called Big South Entertainment, and that's like one of the first people who I was around. You know what I mean? Real young, and he had me. Sean, my cousin Carla, my brother Dre. He had White Boy Q Ball. Q is from Tennessee. Yeah, Q Ball Salini. You know, Q was doing most of the beats and shit, you know what I mean? And yeah.
So that's what surprised me, man. I think they updated the track list and it switched from your name saying Lil Kurt to Alley Boy.
Yeah.
Just because you had got that new fame.
Yeah.
But back then, like, so you been rapping, man, but you one of the few people I hear still mention his name, keep his name alive.
Yeah.
I know Young Sean.
Yeah, that Young Sean, like, my real brother.
But talk about, I mean, he represented Zone 6. This is before, like, Gucci.
Edward, yeah.
Man, like,
like,
you know, Gucci's like the face. Yeah.
In our hood, excuse me, in our hood, my cousin, he legendary. Like, he was like one of the only niggas that had like a full CD. You know what I mean? Like a full, real CD that the whole hood listening to and shit, you know what I mean? And he legendary in the hood, but he ended up, you know, he had sickle cell. And he ended up passing away when he was 32. But I had just got out of prison, and we were pushing the Duct Tape shit. And I say I got out of prison in 2000, at the end of 2005, October. He died in 2007. So that shit was hard on me. You know what I mean? Like, when he passed, it was like one of my brothers died. So that shit kind of fucked with me. But it motivated me, like, man, I need to go hard. Because it would cuz want me on, you know what I mean? Like, he really, like, musically one of the masterminds behind me. Like, he gave me direction, like, for rapping, like, really rapping, saying some storytelling and shit, you know what I mean? Like, he was all that. So, I really get it, a lot of shit from him, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of I get my craft from watching him.
So he was one of the people that inspired you or influenced
the most.
You. Man, did he like ever sit down and actually like go like bar for bar with you writing all that, or was it more so just giving you game?
Nah.
He writing with
nah, you know, I knew how to write on my own. He showed me structure. More like many bars and type shit, like count bars and shit, and writing and shit. But I kind of always knew how to write, you know what I mean? So he never had to, excuse me, bro. I've been up. So goddamn, he ain't never had to give me no words or nothing like that. But just really structure on how to structure a song. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And just ideas and shit, like where to go with shit. But I just automatically pick it up from watching him. Cause he had so much music, he be dropping so much shit. Yeah. And you know what I mean? He gave me my work ethic for writing and shit. Like, always writing and shit, you know what I mean? Like right now I don't even write nothing on paper. But back then we used to write like hell, you know what I mean? But I don't write no more.
Do you got one of your, so you said he passed away in 07.
Yeah.
You got out late 05.
Yep.
So that gap, did you have an opportunity to make some more music with him and kick it with him?
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk about, do you still have like any memories from that time period, man? Did you have an idea that his health was declining?
He been like kind of sickly all his life. Yeah. He always had sickle cell. He got his spleen took out when he was like 10. You know what I mean? But he always been around us. My auntie died when he was young. Like when he was like 11, my auntie passed. So he was always with us. You know what I mean? Like they're like my brother. So man, when I got out of prison, he was right there. That's who right there with me, like every step of the way. With me recording every day. He jumping on songs, we doing songs and shit together and shit like that. So when he passed, that shit was a lot, bro. I ain't gonna lie, that shit was a lot.
Were you actually around him?
Yeah. Yeah, I seen him right before he went in the hospital. I had him roll past him. He was like somewhere talking to his girl. And I rolled up on him like, hey, where I did that type shit. And shit, the next day, my brother called me like, man, you need to come out of the hospital. Sean down here, man. They talking about this shit ain't looking good. He had an aneurysm in his head.
Next day.
You know, the very next day. I'm talking about, I ain't know that, but he always been kind of sickly all his life. Like, sometimes he'll be over my mama's house, just be sleep all day. You know, this her nephew, so she know how he is. And she'll be telling him, like, man, you need to go check on yourself and shit. You know what I mean? And he'll be sleep, like, all day and shit. Not feeling good and shit. So, but we ain't never see that coming, though.
Yeah. I heard you say in a song that you missed his laugh. That he had like a certain laugh.
I wish Sean was still here just to see him laugh.
Yeah.
I hope to God forgive my sin when this gangster passed. Yeah. Cause he had a silly ass laugh. Like he laughed, it's just like a real silly, like like a real silly ass laugh. And that shit, he wanna know his laugh contagious. Like if he laughing about some shit, you don't even gotta know what he laughing about. But how hard he laughing, you'll start laughing and shit.
Be one of them, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that nigga was like an angel, bro, on earth, bro, cause he was just harmless, bro. He ain't mean nobody no harm. He always was just positive, like just cool as fuck, you know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Yeah, R.I.P. to him, man. He definitely had that ATL Fight the Slicker. I remember that album.
That nigga raw. We still listen to that shit.
That crack cocaine song.
Never let crack cocaine hit the street.
Yeah.
Storytelling, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
he was different.
He was classic with that shit.
Back then, though, like he was ahead of his time.
Yeah. Like, to me, he was on like 8 Ball and MJG them level.
That type of vibe.
Back then, you know what I mean? So, I'm glad, you know what I mean, I was able to experience him throughout my life. Yeah. And to have that type of influence around me, you know what I mean?
I definitely want to mention him during the interview because a lot of people may not be familiar. But I heard you mention him, but hopefully they'll go back and do their research, man. It's just unfortunate. I don't even think, did he do any interviews or anything?
You know, it wasn't no internet back then.
It wasn't like that.
No.
They still had the video.
It wasn't no interviews and shit back then. It wasn't no YouTube and all that shit.
07. So
yeah. And, you know.
He was doing his thing before that, man. Taking it back to the beginning, man. Like, how would you said like a Sun Valley, a Boulder Crest? That's not too far from y'all, but would you say Edgewood or Breaking? I'm not.
Edgewood kind of like the harder zone. See, Edgewood, Kirkwood, 2nd Avenue, parts of Moreland, Reynoldstown. Shit like that is like more in the hard. But then some people argue with you and be like, parts of Decatur not zone 6 because they don't got actual Atlanta police. Like in Atlanta we rep zones, but them really are police zones. So if you look on a piece of paper from if your car get towed, it gonna show what zone you in. Zone 6, Zone 3, Zone 1, Zone 5. So that's what we claim. So we Zone 6, we actually got Zone 6 police. But when you go on the Boulder Crest, some parts of Flat Shoals and on back Counter Road and shit like that, they rep Zone 6 too, but they don't got Atlanta police.
The DeKalb County?
It's Decatur, yeah, DeKalb County, you know what I mean? But we accept that because they so close, you know what I mean? So we like, fuck that, y'all Zone 6 too, you know what I mean? So it really make us bigger than any other zone, you know what I mean? Because we got the real actual streets that's Zone 6. On top, we got parts of Decatur that rep with us. You know what I mean?
What about like a Lithonia or Stone Mountain? That's still just east, but not East Atlanta.
It's east side, but it's not East Atlanta at all.
I've heard people say.
Yeah, but really on the east side, everybody will damn near say they from Zone 6. Going east, they like, fuck it, we Zone 6. You know what I mean? Like, just cuz.
No, you said Kirkwood, so that's Little Mexico.
Yep.
But Edgewood. So...
Edgewood and Kirkwood like a mile away from each other.
Okay.
We damn near connected. Like all of us went to school together, everything. We like cousinhood. Like East Lake Meadow, oh yeah, East Lake Meadow too. But East Lake Meadow like in 2nd Avenue, like on the border. Kirkwood is too of DeKalb County in Atlanta. Like it's borderline, you know what I mean? Like if you get locked up in Zone 6, you gonna go to the DeKalb County jail. You know what I'm saying? But it's Atlanta police, but they gonna take you to the DeKalb County jail. You ain't gonna go to Rice Street, you know what I mean? In Fulton County. So it's like that.
Man, I was talking to somebody earlier. They were saying like one of the first gangs to come said, I think they said it was like in the East Lake Meadows area.
Down by law.
How did you know I was about to...
That's the only gang kind of like that was like a gang that was on the east side.
Because they was asking me, they was like, so what gangs is in this area of Tennessee, blah, 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 blah. And they was talking about it wasn't really gangs at first in Atlanta. It was more so like we rep this hood or this area. Then they just started coming in. But they were saying that was the first one.
Because it used to be like the projects in Atlanta was so big, that was like a gang in itself. So like it'd be the Perry homeboy, Eagle homeboy, John Hope boy, Carver homeboy, Harris home. You know what I mean? Like the projects and shit were cracking so hard and they be so deep. Them like gangs. You know what I mean? Like where you from? But the east side ain't had it. It was like just East Lake Meadow, Edgewood, Kirkwood. You know what I mean? But East Lake was like a big ass project, but Edgewood is like townhouses, duplexes, apartments, and houses. Kirkwood basically kind of the same way. So it was like more of a community. You know what I mean? It wasn't just a full project. You know what I mean?
So it ain't like a Boyd Homes or nothing?
Nah.
More so like a Bankhead, I guess, or nah?
Nah, like Bankhead is just a long ass street.
Oh, that's not a community.
So it's a bunch of shit
okay.
on Bankhead. Like it's a few projects on Bankhead. You know what I mean? Born Home. There's a lot of shit around Bankhead.
But you said Edgewood is like the heart of Zone 6.
Yeah.
I'm asking for somebody who not familiar with the area.
Edgewood, East Lake, Kirkwood. I feel like we like the heart of Zone 6.
It seems like you take pride in being from there, dog.
I do.
Not Zone 6, not saying you don't, but you take pride in repping Edgewood.
I do, but I grew up in Eagle Home too on the west side.
Oh, you bounced around?
I was just in Eagle Home when I was younger. But you know, they tore down all the projects. But my family, like on my dad's side, I always had a whole bunch of cousins and shit and family that were from Edgewood. So I was always known and familiar with Edgewood too. But then they tore Eagle Home down. So by the time I started getting bigger, like 14, 15, I started being in Edgewood a little more, even though I still come to the west side. But that's what I started repping, Edgewood. Like when we like, this is where I'm from, you know.
And that's a townhouse. That's not an actual neighborhood. That's like a house.
Edgewood?
Yeah.
Edgewood, townhouses, houses, and apartments.
See, that's why I'm
like we got a set of apartments in Edgewood. Yeah. We got duplex houses, like 2 apartments stuck together, and houses. All this shit just mixed up in like or radius.
Okay. So what's Mason Ave? Where is that? That's within Edgewood.
Going between Edgewood, a street, the main street in Edgewood.
Okay, because I was wondering, I heard.
Yeah, that we
Big
rep
Black say that.
Mason Ave.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mason Avenue. That we'll say we from Mason Avenue.
So from the west to the east. Hold on. So you said
Started out on the west.
and then relocated, but as a kid though,
Yeah.
to East Atlanta.
Yeah.
So what was it really a major adjustment for you?
Nah.
You-
Nah.
Because you still was young, you know.
It wasn't no major adjustment because I still knew everybody. Like, and I went to school on both sides. Like, I pity-patted, like, back and forth on West School, East Side School, and West Side School. Because, you know, my mom and shit was on drugs. So sometimes I'd be staying with my grandma and be on the east side. Sometimes I'd be staying with my mom on the west side. And I'd go to school here 6 months, go to school here 3 months, go to school here 3 months, like type shit. So I always moved around. Like I went to Jessamine School on the east side as I did the west side. Like I went to Douglas High. I went to E.R. Carter. Shit like that. All that's on the west side. I went to what it is? Was it Thero High? Some shit like that. That's down about East Point. I went there. I went to Cream High. I went to Cohen Middle School, Whitefield Elementary, all them on the east side. So I knew a bunch of folks from school and shit already, and just from living everywhere. Like we bounced around as kids. We bounced around. Like, you know how when your mom and them on drugs, y'all ain't staying nowhere long, you know what I mean?
So it wasn't a 2-parent household for you.
When I was real young,
But after that, it just...
it was just, my mom and dad broke up when I was probably about 9, some shit like that.
Yeah.
They broke up when we was about 9. But I used to be staying with my grandma, which is my dad's mom. So I'd be staying with her, then I'd be back at mom's house, and, just back and forth.
If you don't mind me asking, was she ever able to kind of shake that?
Yeah, my mom been off drugs now, going on 30 years, like
that's
20.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Like 27, 28 years, some shit like that. She shook that shit. You know what I mean? She shook it. My dad did too. My dad a deacon. You know what I mean? To this day, my dad a deacon. But my mom got off drugs like probably 10 years before him. You know what I mean? But he wasn't never just like no junkie. He worked every day.
Function.
You know what I mean? Like, be fresh as hell. You wouldn't even, from looking at him, you wouldn't even know he was on drugs. You know what I mean? But he was. You know what I mean? Only thing, like, we knew, because, like, you ain't coming up like you should. You know what I mean? Like, for the work that he do and the amount he get paid and shit, he get paid good money. So, like, he just ain't coming up. But he kept himself up, like, clothes and, you know what I mean? He always looked good and shit. So you wouldn't know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But he ended up shaking that shit too.
No, for sure. Now I want to ask you, did you ever personally battle with any addictions?
Me?
Yeah, like you seeing your parents.
Codeine.
Oh, you was on lean.
We drank.
And it got to the point like where you couldn't go without it daily? Or you experiencing like health issues if it was like a withdrawal or something and you didn't have it?
I started drinking lean, bro. Excuse me. Bro, I had been drinking lean for so long, like a lot. Like I to the point where I could say I was addicted to it. You know what I mean? And then I used to sell it, so I used to keep it. You know what I mean? And this shit fucked up my kidney. Like a lot of folks don't know. I done said it before. You know what I mean? Like I got kidney failure from drinking codeine. It fucked up my kidneys. You know what I mean? Like, I need a kidney right now. Yeah. But, I'm stronger than I look. You know what I mean? So, like, all along, I was allergic to codeine. I'm allergic to opiates. So, it was like I was drinking poison the whole time and didn't know. You know what I mean? And I ended up falling out one day after drinking it and shit. So, I went in the hospital. They were telling me then that my kidney was damaged. And I didn't change up a lot of shit that I should have changed up, like eating and shit like that. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff. It's a lot. And I ain't changed it up the way I should have. So eventually my shit failed. And now, you know what I mean? I got kidney failure.
So how is that like day to day for you now, like health
I
wise?
do dialysis. You know, I do dialysis 3 times a week.
And you were actually allergic to opioids and didn't know it. And you
Didn't
just
know.
consuming it daily.
Because when you drinking lean, it's so much ice and drink, then it's in a liquid form. So I ain't taking like no heavy dose of it at one time. It's like I'm taking a little bit, basically, because I'm sipping. So it like, when I started noticing it, it started being like my feet and shit were like swelling sometimes. You know what I mean? So I started slacking up on it, but it was too late. I had already damaged it.
Are you on like a waiting list or anything for
Yeah,
it?
I'm on the waiting list for a kidney and shit. I've been on dialysis now for like a year. You know what I mean? So I go actually this month for like my little consolation and shit for the transplant and shit. You know.
When you was talking about I can edit this out, but was the surgery stuff, was that related to that or is
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I done had like 2 surgeries already. Like, you know, when you do dialysis, first they put a port on your chest. Like I got a port on my chest, and then they do it in your arm, and like you end up, sometimes you might do 1 surgery, or you might end up having to do 2, and I had to do 2.
Man. So in addition to that, so you got to change. We said some of the stuff you did make adjustments to, but what about now? You have to change like the way you eat.
You don't have no choice. Like you can't drink a whole lot of liquid and shit like that, because when you got kidney failure, your body don't filter itself no more, so they filter your blood and pull fluid off of you, like your body hold fluid. So it's like I really don't even supposed to drink now, but like 2 bottles of water a day. Yeah.
Man, but this doesn't run in your family, or does it?
No.
Kidney,
No. No.
kidney issues.
No, ain't nobody in my family ever had no type of kidney issues and shit. But it just I told her I'm allergic to opiates and didn't know. So the whole time I was drinking that shit, I ain't know. You know what I mean? I was basically killing myself.
What do you think got you hooked to it? Was it the taste?
It's codeine. So that's a drug in itself. It's codeine. You know what I mean? So it like, you can get addicted to it. So like, it's the taste. It was the culture at the time. Everybody drinking lean on a regular. Like that we was on. And after a while, it started becoming like an everyday, all day thing. Like we just drinking every day, all day. And the whole time, shit, I was killing myself. Man. Slowly.
And you witnessed it. I'm sure it changed, and they say the prices done shot up significantly.
Yeah, that shit crazy. No, that shit ridiculous.
From I guess when you was doing it. You know.
Yeah, it's way different from when I was drinking lean. And then like I was staying, like I moved to California, they wasn't drinking lean like we doing in Atlanta. So I was getting pints in California for like $400, and they were like $1,500 over here. Damn. You know what I mean? So it was like I was extra flooded with the shit. You know what I mean? Like I buy 10, 20 pints of drink, sell 5 or 6 on, and make all my money back. So now I got like 15 pints of just profit. And so I could just drink all I want, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
And it wasn't until you experienced kidney failure that you stopped completely?
Yeah.
But prior to that, even if you said your feet were swelling and stuff like that, you still was drinking though?
That's when I started catching little signs and shit about it. And it was just really kind of playing out to me, you know what I mean? Like, the numbers started getting crazy. They discontinued activists, and we was on activists. So the rest of all that shit was like generic. So I wasn't really into the generic shit, you know what I mean? But now that same generic shit, high as fuck, you know what I mean? But, you know, a lot of niggas who drinking nowadays, they probably ain't never even had no activists. You know?
Yeah. Man, I want to ask you too. So you don't bounce around. I saw you mention in an interview that you used to live in Denver for a few years, but so
Yeah.
you stayed in California before then.
I moved to California in 2011
For the
with Master P.
Yeah, Master P and Fat Trill.
Yeah. So I stayed, staying out there till like 2015. I came back, and then I moved to Denver in 2020.
Are those the only two, like, because I feel like that's surprising to me, not necessarily Cali, but Denver. I know you said it was like
I want to learn how to grow weed.
hustle based, yeah, but...
Yeah, I really want to learn how to grow weed. Like, we had them been selling weed like all our life. So it was like, the infatuation with the shit was just there, because that's how I made money. So it was like, damn, I want to learn this shit. I want to be my own plug. I want to be my own plug. And I had a homeboy, this white dude named Drew. He used to be booking me for shows back in the day, and he ended up moving up to Denver. And he reached out to me and was telling me about it, showing it to me on FaceTime. He had a grow in his basement. So I started flying up there to visit him and fucking around with his shit. And I just caught the bug. And I was like, fuck that, I'm finna come do the same shit. I'm finna get me a house and do my thing.
Man, how was that adjustment for you relocating from Atlanta to Denver, though? Aside, I know it was motivated by money.
I'm spontaneous, bro. I'm a Pisces, bro. And so, like, we like two fishes going in different directions. And it's like, I could be doing this, and then I don't want to do this no more, I want to do this. Then I want to do this, you know what I mean? So it was like kind of easy for me. And I had already stayed outside of the city before. And once I get my mind on something, I'm going to push at that shit like I really want to do it. So I was like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck if I know. I know one person that was good enough for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I went up there, got my house, and just went for what I know.
And you in the city, or you on the outskirts? Like, what's
I
the
stayed in Westminster. It's like 20 minutes outside of Denver.
So, what's the people like up there compared to Atlanta?
White.
Oh, it's not a diverse area?
Hell no.
Okay.
Like in Aurora, Colorado, that's a county and it got black people. But the rest of that shit, nah. And where I stayed was like a straight white community. Like,
You probably stuck out.
yeah, but I ain't come outside much other than like going to the store, get shit to eat, shit like that, go to the hydroponic store and shit like that. And other than that, I'm inside my garden. I had my grow inside. My whole basement was flooded.
Yeah. Is the cost of living crazy up there?
Yeah. My house was like, I rented a house. But you gotta have a nice size house to even grow
That's
in
what I'm
it
thinking.
anyway. You
That's
know what I
what
mean?
I'm thinking, yeah.
It had like a big ass basement. So my house was probably like 3,900. It was like 3,900 a month. You know what I mean? Or a 4-bedroom, 3-car garage, full basement. But hell, I'm trying to make 100,000 each flip every 2 months out this bitch.
What, you were actually able to do that?
Yeah.
100,000 every 2 months?
I had 20 lights. I had 20 lights in my basement. You try to get 2 pounds for every light. So that's like 40 pounds. And at the time when I moved out there, pounds were going for like 3,000 to 4,000. So like even if I could just grow 30 pounds, that's 90,000. And I can do this every 65 days.
So what made, hold on. So that sounds like that's more lucrative, not, I guess, legal in every area, but more lucrative than some people's rap careers, man.
Hell yeah, that's like 50 a month.
That's crazy.
Like 50,000 a month. You know what I mean? Every rapper ain't making that, but that ain't nothing to a popping ass rapper who really getting 50,000 a weekend. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's still like for you not to be rapping, that's like still like 600,000-700,000 a year.
Did it ever get serious to the point where people tried to target you?
Nah, don't nobody know me. Don't nobody know me up there. If I'm out and about, other people run into people, be like, damn, that's Attaboy, shit like that. But nah, where I stayed at,
Low key.
Hell yeah. It wasn't never like white people, rich white people.
Man, that's crazy, man. You said 4 years you was up there.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to like
I just got back.
yeah, visit
the
there.
beginning of this year.
But not live there. And when I went, it was hot. It was hot. But
In Denver?
yeah, when I went to Denver, it was cool. I mean, I'm talking like the atmosphere was cool, but the temperature, it was kind of warm when I was there. But I ain't,
went in the summertime.
yeah, it was in the summertime.
Yeah, it'd be nice as hell in the summertime, but in the winter,
Yeah.
it
get cold.
snow like it rain.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Nah, it snow. It started snowing in September.
Nah, yeah, I was there in the summertime.
In September, it started snowing. That's when you gonna first start seeing snow, and that shit, it snow like a lot.
So
But you can kind of get used to it.
strictly, it's like strictly. So no, you weren't doing you focus on no music. You weren't collaborate with no Denver artists. Not going to no clubs, doing no
I used to
walkthroughs.
sneak out the little clubs,
But nothing serious.
but it wasn't them, but like one black club. Then this little strip clubs and shit like that. But I ain't know but one black club that was just black people.
I thought I heard it's like they banging in Denver.
That ain't our type of banging. They probably call it banging for their area, but
Different. We ain't gotta keep going to that.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't heard, you know.
it ain't like our city.
got
You know what I mean? Like they banging in Atlanta, they banging in Tennessee, they banging in the South, in the West Coast. Up there, it's more like Mexicans probably be banging and shit like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Versus like Blood, Crip.
Mafia up there though.
For sure.
They up there. All that money is legal weed up there, so you know
Well, they
them folks
hands
got
in
their hand. Yeah, they got their hand in that shit.
Man, that's one thing I wanted to ask you about. You had the song. It's a classic song. Throw It Up. Well, I really want to talk about the video.
Yeah.
So you hit different hoods. You hit a hood with Bloods. You hit a
I
hood
hit.
with Crip. Oh,
I did my hood Edgewood. I did
4 Seasons.
Summer Hill. Cause they Bloods over there, 9 Deuce and shit. My nigga Graham them, and then I went to 4 Seasons. They crippin' over there.
Man.
So and it was like, yeah. I think that probably one of the first song and video that got that big, that put the light on Atlanta on some gang shit. Cause Atlanta ain't known for gang banging. You know, Atlanta wasn't known for gang banging. But they like some of the first hoods that were like, did what we on, you know. But my hood don't gang bang.
I was gonna ask you about that. When you came up, was it more so just like you represent your hood, your area?
Always.
Not no, cause I never, even in your music, man. Like I see you throw. I don't know what you be
We
throwing
be
up
doing
for
like
the E.
this
Yeah.
duct tape.
Okay, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, but I see you like
we made our own gang
That's
signs,
what I was gonna say.
you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
but not like Blood
But
or Crip or folk.
Trouble's blood.
Yeah.
Trouble's blood. But I ain't in no gang.
Man, I was gonna ask you that though. In the footage, the behind the scenes footage, I guess in the video too, I saw the dude Nut.
Yeah.
OG Nut.
Nut was like my little brother.
I saw Bloody J, Ola Player, all of them.
Yeah.
So you had personal relationships with them dudes outside
Ola
of the
Player.
Ola Player, yeah.
He in the video?
He was in the behind the scenes. He was on the phone. He was right next to Bloody J.
See, I probably ain't know him back then.
Yeah, but I was gonna say about
I
Nut.
probably ain't even know him back then.
But you know.
But I heard his name. But I probably didn't know him back then. You know what I mean? Like I don't really know him like that. But I done heard of him, of course. But I can't say I didn't know him personal. You know what I mean?
And we say Graham, you talking about the dude Major Graham,
yeah,
that they always be talking about.
Yeah, that's my nigga.
So he locked up too, man.
Yep, he in prison.
Yeah, man. But I was gonna ask you. So what's the relationship with Nut? You know, it's controversy surrounding
Nut like
his
my
name.
little brother.
Yeah.
Nut way younger than me. And man, I met Nut when he was 17, 18. And he always been big as hell. Like he looked older than he is.
He did look,
but he was young as fuck. You know what I mean? And I remember that nigga used to have a green Malibu with some rims on it. And it had a big ass Patron bottle painted on the side. Like that when nigga was doing cars and shit like that. It was too funny. But me and Nut in all my old shit. He in all the videos. He at the club with me. like all type of shit. That was my nigga.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the shit out of Nut. R.I.P. Nut, man.
Man, that's crazy. He do look like an OG though. I ain't know he was young.
That nigga young as shit. And he was young when he died. He was young.
Yeah.
He wasn't old at all.
Were y'all still in communication around that time?
Yeah, he died when I was staying in Cali though. He got killed when I was staying in California. And I used to tell Nut like, bro, they killing cool niggas. The cool niggas always die. The fuck niggas don't never get killed. Niggas who everybody don't be liking and all that shit like that, they'll never die. But all the niggas who be cool with everybody and woo, that's who seem like be getting killed. And I used to try to tell him, cause he love the club, you know. His fat ass, them bitches like him. He ain't a big teddy bear, you know what I mean? The bitches like him. So he in the club all the time and shit. Yeah, man.
No. Yeah, I just, his name has been, you know, with the whole YSL and all that.
Yeah. Them niggas had their situation, man. I don't really like to speak on it because I got love for on both sides. You know, Thug my nigga too. And it just be unfortunate like that when people be from the same city. You have love for niggas on both sides. So it be like when you take a loss over here, it's still a loss over there. Take a loss over there, it's still a loss over here. Everybody repping the same people. Yeah. When soldiers fall, the whole city be mourning. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? Beef divides shit. But everybody feel it when people pass. Yeah. You know?
Did you have a relationship with Lucci too?
Yeah.
So you really tapped in around the entire city, man, when it comes to
Yeah, I'm Atlanta. I'm Atlanta, baby. Yeah. All the way. All the way.
I'm thinking like somebody on the east side or just stay in their area.
Hell no. I'm all over that motherfucker.
They say that's how it is like in L.A. People being certain hoods, they just stay in their little section.
Nah, ain't like that in Atlanta. When you Atlanta nigga, you be known everywhere down there when you just really play the city. We clubbed on the west side more than the east side. You know what I mean? Like, Crucial on Bankhead.
That's crazy. You would think it's in the east.
Nah, Crucial on Bankhead.
Well, you
we
hear
be in that
people talk
bitch
about it
every weekend.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah. But when you really a city nigga, you could do that. And ain't gonna be no pressure. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody gonna be fucking with me, cause I ain't fucking with nobody. But I know niggas out of every clique, like I see, like, but that's my boy. But in my boy, you know, everybody ain't gonna like you, but enough people like you, like, for it not to be no shit. You know what I mean? And I ain't no hoe, so it's like, I ain't asking no nigga where I can go anyway.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Point blank period. Man, you mentioned how before rapping, you was robbing, not necessarily hustling.
Yeah.
Like, around what age did that get serious for you to the point you
robbing
consider yourself
and shit?
like I'm an actual, like I'm gonna just start taking?
I'm gonna say like, bro, like, when we, like, that like some Atlanta shit. Like, we used to rob crackheads. You know, Atlanta like a real trap like shit. So it like, crackheads come through with a lot of money, we'll take the money. Then it went from there to, we started rob, you know, we be calling niggas country niggas who be coming from out of town. And you know what I mean? Like, southern towns from all the towns, they flood Atlanta. So that's what we used to be doing. Like, we, you know, some people will serve, some people will rob. You know what I mean? But it ain't even uncommon. It wasn't like I just stood out.
Okay.
Like, all these niggas do that shit. Even though they sell dope, got money and everything, but we used to celebrate when we hit licks. Nigga be high-fiving, hey, yeah, you caught on what? Oh, yeah. Like, it's Atlanta shit. You know what I mean? Like, most Atlanta niggas, they hustle, but them niggas will take some too. You know what I mean? Like, it all be coming with the game. Like I feel like Atlanta niggas more diverse. Like, we like kind of jack of all trade in the street. We ain't just doing this. You know what I mean? These niggas will be busting checks, then be robbing the next day, be selling bricks the next day. You know what I mean? Like,
man,
you know what I mean? But I just was, when I was young, I kind of favored that shit a little more. You know what I mean? Hustling and taking.
Man, what would you say what you comfortable with sharing is like one of the biggest licks?
Man, it's so many on, bro. I can't even say. It's just that shit.
You talking about like paper though?
Shit, I don't took like 300,000 from a nigga. You know, like, I don't like bragging on dirt though. But it's all good. I don't give a fuck. I can't take it back. I don't take back nothing. If I do it, I'ma own it. It is what it is.
No regrets.
Nah, I don't regret that.
Yeah.
Like personal relationship shit, you have regrets and shit. But in the street, I gotta accept whatever gonna come to me. If I done something, I gotta accept whatever's behind it. So I don't need to have no regrets about it.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
But I know you real open, like you real raw and vulnerable in your music. Yeah. And you've been open about that. That's why I want to ask you about that. You even revealed that after you got the deal with Atlantic, you were still rapping.
Still doing shit. Because it's like, when you get signed, that don't mean you out the streets. That don't mean you stop old habits and shit. And that's like a flaw, bro. You know what I mean? Because some people take the opportunity and run and strictly be like trying,
focus.
But when you been like getting a certain amount of money in the street and this ain't working, you go back to what you know. You know what I mean? So it always be like a balance thing. You know what I mean? And then we fucked up. We street, like we be saying like we street niggas. It's kind of fucked up mentality because we be stuck in that shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like mentally, you be stuck. You really be your biggest. You like conflicting with yourself. You know what I mean? Because you'll pick some street shit over some legit shit. Cause this all you been knowing all your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is that like a drug to a certain extent?
Hell yeah, like a drug.
Like an addiction.
Yeah.
In its own way.
A lot of niggas who sell dope, they're addicted to it. They're addicted to selling dope.
Just a fast money or just a lifestyle, period.
Just period. This is what they know.
That's what they know.
If you've been doing something since you were 14
you comfortable
and 15, by the time you get 30 and 40, shit like that, this all you know. Anything else ain't even comfortable to you.
But the crazy part, they say success is always like outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, but not in the streets.
Sure.
You don't know nothing else.
Nah.
So when you waking up, you like, I'm finna go drive a truck or do. Hell no. I wanna buy a brick. I wanna catch me a lick. You know what I mean? Like, fast money.
But man, getting back, so you said it's like a drug though.
Hell
with
yeah,
the streets.
bro.
But man, just a couple more questions for you, man. Why do you think you didn't blow after getting a major deal? Did you always have one foot in, one foot out?
Yep. And like I feel like when I signed with Atlantic, I don't feel like they knew what to do with me. You know what I mean? Cause it wasn't that many rappers at Atlantic at the time. Like Warner Brothers emerged to Atlantic when I was already like 3 years into my deal, when they started doing more street shit. But when I signed to Atlantic, they ain't have nobody but T.I. Plies, Flo Rida.
Oh yeah.
What's his name from Chicago?
Common?
No.
Kanye? No, you said
from Chicago.
Twister.
No. The other like little common rapper with the glasses.
Chance?
Lupe.
Oh, Lupe the Fiasco.
Lupe, Flo Rida, Plies, Tip. Like, we were the only artists over there, like, rappers. So, I feel like they didn't know what to do with me. They were trying to, a lot of people were doing hella crossover songs. And,
going pop, mainstream.
Yeah, like, with the white boys on the hook and all that, singing on the hook and shit. So, they were reaching at that type shit. And I'm on some straight street shit, you know what I mean? And it was like they were trying to drop singles like that. And I'm like, So we didn't mix. So I started trying to get out my deal with them. After a while, I just stopped fucking with them. Like, I ain't fucking with y'all. I want out my deal. I started telling my lawyer to hit them up. Cause I never spent a lot of the money that they gave me, like, for budget-wise. I wasn't spending their money. So I didn't owe them shit like that. So it was like, I had to end up in the end. I ended up having to get them back some songs I recorded with them that I ain't give a fuck about. Like we had features and shit like Trey songs and all that type shit. Yeah. Get them shits back. I don't give a damn. I wasn't using them anyway. They weren't even out. So it was like, it was like 16 songs. Some shit that they asked for back.
Like an album.
And then I kept it going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't, you know. But
so that's what went.
And like I felt like you just never know, bro. You can't say. You know what I mean? But I know they like songs that I had cracking already. They wouldn't push them because they weren't on their producers' beats and shit. They always wanted to push a song where they damn near own the hook. And I've been said the hook over, but they own it from one of their writers and the beat through one of their producers. That's the game they play, this chess. So they own most of the song. And the songs that I had popping was my producers, and I was on the hook. My own shit I wrote, you know what I mean? And they weren't trying to push it. Like Foe, they ain't do nothing with Foe. But Foe already damn near platinum in the street. Why wouldn't y'all get behind it and put the house behind it? And I had other shit that we popped off in the street, but they didn't put behind it. So it was like, it was just friction. You know what I mean?
Get behind the pocket full of money.
Pocket full of money. All that shit like that. So it was like, nah. You know, we tried to get clearances on Pocket Full of Money. It was a part on the sample that we couldn't locate the people, because it was from an old song. It was a 2-part sample. It was just conflict. And when I got in the deal was great. Like, I had a 50-50 joint venture with them, but it was still like...
Back then.
Yeah. I had a good deal, but it was like, they don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying?
How to market you.
Yeah, it was like, man, I don't want to be with y'all.
Who do you think would have been able to push your career further on a major level?
Def Jam.
I was thinking Def Jam.
I was finna sign with Def Jam, but Atlanta ended up giving me more money. Def Jam wanted more of my publishing and shit, and I went with that. So I went with Atlanta. They gave me more money, and they took less publishing.
And you said when you get the songs back, that was it. You didn't have to buy yourself out the deal or nothing.
Nah, none of that.
No money. If
I
you don't
ain't
mind
spend none of that money. You know the advance is yours.
What kind of advance was it, man?
It was decent. You know?
6 figures?
Yeah, it was 6 figures. Yeah.
Man,
it wasn't $1 million, but it was altogether it was about $1 million with the discretionary budget and the album budget. You know what I mean? But in pocket, it was still 6 figures.
No, for sure. Man, well, just lastly, man, hopefully we'll be able to connect again, man. I appreciate you taking time to chop it up with Humble Soul.
Nah, this ain't gonna be our last one. We got some more to talk about.
Man, any words of wisdom, man, any game you can drop to any up-and-coming, aspiring artist, man.
Man, you just gotta stay believing in yourself, man. You gotta be the A&R, you gotta be down to the producer, the manager. You gotta always think like, ain't nobody gonna help you. Ain't nobody gonna save you. You gotta do it. All right, you gotta do everything. You know what I mean? Shouldn't nobody be working harder for you than you. Period. So when you got that mind frame, like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. See, a lot of artists get in this shit like, oh, I'm hot, oh, I'm the shit. Da-da-da, and you want folks to do shit for you. Nah, that ain't how it go. You gotta beat your feet and just don't stop. That's how you gonna have longevity. That's the difference between being here one day and gone or having a lifetime career. I feel like I ain't never going nowhere. I'm gonna always have a crowd. You know what I mean? Through the type of music I do and everything, it's kind of timeless.
Well, you never hopped on no particular wave.
I ain't hopped no wave. I ain't changing my music up and then.
You would get like a Zaytoven beat or a beat from this popping producer, but it seemed like a lot of stuff was in-house.
I love my own producers. I love creating my own sound. You know what I mean? I don't want nobody else's sound. I don't want to follow their wave.
For sure.
I want my own wave. So when my shit catch, there's my shit that catch. I ain't gotta be sounding like Thug or sounding like Future to keep my shit going. I ain't gotta do nothing but me.
That's 100%.
And it's easier for me to be me, you know?